Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm sorry about my appearance. We're in the middle of a pandemic right now and we're all in quarantine and I just look trash. So don't focus on how terrible I look. But I just wanted to come on here because it's been a while since I uploaded because I am not good at uploading. But it's also because I wanted to come on here and talk more about my personal life because there's been a lot of things that have happened in my personal life, and I don't talk about it that much with many people. And if I am in a sort of scenario where I am allowed to talk about these things, it's hard to talk about these things because they're not easy to talk about. So I wanted to come on here and talk about it with you guys, and more so talk about it at my own pace and just talk about it in my own kind of way that I feel comfortable with. And I know that this video is probably going to be long. It's definitely going to be personal. It's definitely going to be serious. It's gonna like cause a lot of things probably, for the people who are close to me and know me the most. But I am gonna say this: I am not asking for any pity or any sympathy or whatever, any sort of sad feelings that you guys feel towards me because of this video. Don't feel sad for me, don't feel bad for me, don't pity me, don't feel like you have to be fragile around me because I can't simply take anything. That's not the case. It's been years since these things have happened. I have had my time to heal, even though these things happened in my life, and I will never forget them. It's a part of my life, and I can't forget about these sort of things. I've had time to heal, and I've had time to think about them, and I am fully much better from them. And also, I don't know if I mentioned this yet or not, but I know that I'm posting this on YouTube. I know I am practically making my personal life kind of public now because it's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be like allowed to be watched by however many people watch this video. But it's not my intention to become famous from this video because I do not want to be famous for any of the things that I had to go through and suffer in order to kind of get to the mental space that I am in now. So I think that's all that I really can think of to really talk about. Oh, and I also want to warn you guys, there is a trigger warning. There's going to be a trigger warning in this video. It has stuff to do with mental health, sexual assault, self-harm, suicide, death, and basically those topics. Bullying, it's that kind of stuff. It's not fun stuff that happened. So those are some of the things that I will be talking about in this video. If you can't handle that sort of stuff, please X off of this video right now, because I don't want you guys to be triggered from this. And I will also, I already filmed a video like this before, but I didn't properly plan out how I wanted things to go, so I'm refilming it now. So I will also leave information down below to some organizations and other sorts of groups that support mental health, mental health, suicide if you are feeling suicidal, and for sexual assault victims as well. So if you need to reach out to anyone, there's information down below for you to go reach out to those people. And if you ever need someone to talk to, you can always talk to anyone that's close to you, friends, family. If you ever need someone to talk to but you don't want to talk to someone who's close to you, you can always talk to me. I am open to talking to anyone and being there for you. And yeah, so I think that's all that I want to say for that kind of part. And I'm going to get into the hard stuff now. It's not going to be fun. Nothing like this is at all fun. I'm gonna start with the kind of big specific thing that has kind of caused me to be kind of a dark person when I was younger, and that was my unfortunate sexual assault, rape, trauma, if you want to call it that. It first happened to me when I was in 1st or 2nd grade, and it happened to me it was someone who was a close family friend. They used to live in the same exact house as me, and it happened. I don't really feel comfortable going into the whole entire like details of it, because I feel like it's not necessary to go into all of the details about it, because I just personally don't feel comfortable talking about it, especially because I was that young, and the fact that I was that young yet I still remember every single thing that happened. It's like, it's disgusting, and like no one should ever have to go through something like that, especially at that young age. But basically, if I wanted to talk about it, it was a close family friend who sexually assaulted me. I was playing with the young girl that I was friends with at that time, and I'm pretty sure I felt tired at that time, so I was laying down somewhere. I don't remember where I was laying down, but then the person came over to me. It was basically like, oh, you can go lay down in my room, that kind of thing. So I went to go to their room to go lay down because they said they had a TV in there, and the bed's comfortable and all that kind of stuff. So I went to go lay down, and I was in there for a while. I think I took a nap, and then I watched TV a little bit. I'm pretty sure I was watching like Sesame Street or Dragon Tales or something like that. And then I tried to leave because I was hungry or thirsty or something, and I probably wanted to go play with my friend at that time. But when I tried to go open the door, I couldn't open it. So I was stuck in there for a while, and then the person came back, and that's when everything kind of happened. And then when all was done, the person told me to not tell anyone, keep it a secret. If I told anyone, I would get in trouble. I'm really trying hard to like maintain my composure right now. That's why I kind of seem like serious, and I don't know, I'm starting to like lose myself at the moment now. But anyways, yeah, I was told that I would get in trouble, and I can't tell anyone. So I did exactly that, and I also was told to forget about it, so I forgot about it. And then I just left the room and just went on with my life. And from first or second grade to fifth grade, it happened so frequently, almost every single moment, that I saw this person. And it was so disgusting because it would happen so often. There was probably not one day where this person didn't get their hands on me, and that is disgusting. And like I can't think of why someone would do something like that to a child, especially. But yeah, that happened. And then 5th to 8th grade, I need to take a breath because telling this story makes me forget to breathe sometimes. 5th to 8th grade didn't happen as often because I started to basically sneak around my own house and calculate when I can leave, when I can't leave. I basically learned how to practically enhance my hearing so that I can hear like footsteps and voices and stuff. So I think I have a pretty good sense of hearing because of that, because I trained myself to be able to hear like the tiniest thing. And you know, in the middle school kind of time, you should be hanging out with your friends and you should be making friends and stuff. But I instead, it was hard because when I was younger, I thought everyone was my friend because I went to a really small school and I had a really small class, so we were all close to each other. And I thought that we were really close and we were family and stuff. But then when middle school came around, everyone kind of branched off into their own little cliques and groups and stuff. And because I still had that mindset, like everyone is my friend, I kept on hopping in between groups and stuff. And I didn't really know where I fit in. And I was having some people talk about me behind my back. And just treating me differently than they would or should be or whatever. So yeah, there's that. I don't know how that goes on with the original storyline that I was going along, but that happened. So I didn't hang out with my friends as often because I was basically calculating when I can basically go around my own house, and I was also not being treated nicely at school. So there's that. And it caused me to develop depression and anxiety because I felt like I didn't have anyone. I felt disgusted with myself for being constantly taken advantage of and being easy because I had this person who was sexually assaulting me, but then I also had these people at school who thought that it was okay to kind of use me as a scapegoat whenever they got in trouble. And whenever they got in trouble or whenever I wasn't at school, and they would play question games like Truth or Dare, or ask each other questions and stuff, and they would bring me up and wouldn't really give me an opportunity or platform to really speak up for myself. And I'm not Dare in the first place, so I can't really speak for myself. And yeah, so I was pretty much alone a lot, and it was just a lot. That's all I could think of for that kind of part. When 8th grade came around, it was difficult because my mental health was already terrible enough, and my mental health was already terrible enough, and that year, I think it was like 2015 or 2016 or something like that, in February my grandpa died, and then in the summer my grandma died. But it hit harder that my grandma died because when my grandpa died, me, my mom, and my grandma, we went from Massachusetts and we went down south to go to his funeral. And then me and my mom came back from down south back to Massachusetts. My grandma stayed down there to be with our family that's down there. And then we planned to bring her back to Massachusetts in July or August. So we went down south the last week of July, and we were supposed to be there for just like a week or two, but that ended up being for an entire month because my grandma got sick. So because she got sick, we stayed down there for a really long time. And as a 7th grader going into 8th grade, it was really hard because I already had a lot of pressure on me. I had to, prepare myself mentally that I'm about to go to high school soon. And then also my grandma's sick, and my aunts and uncles and my mom were depending on me and my cousin, who was there at that time, to basically take shifts to make sure my grandma was okay and to keep an eye on her. So in the mornings and afternoons, all of us would be taking care of her. But then in the evenings into like the early mornings, which is basically like, let's say 10 or 11 o'clock at night to like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, that was me and my cousin's job to basically make sure that she was okay and stuff and keep her company if she needed someone. So I basically stayed up until 8 to 11 o'clock in the morning, got like 1 or 2 hours of sleep, or sometimes if I fell asleep at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, I got a few hours of sleep, but then I would be up for the entire day, and then I would be at it again in the evening into like the really early morning, because my family was depending on me. So I did it, and my grandma died, and that was really hard because we were supposed to bring her back home, but she never came back home, so that's okay. She's I'm not gonna get emotional because I don't want anyone to bully me. But yeah. And then, so basically I started 8th grade, not on the best start because my grandma died. I wasn't prepared for school at all. I basically had to do school supply shopping and do all of my summer work 2 weeks before school started. And then my mom was also like struggling to get the tuition into my school, so it was all stressful for us to start a school for me. And then I had to apply for high schools, so I applied for high schools. There were 2 high schools that were in mind for me. I applied to one, and then there was this other high school that offered me this really, really amazing honors program I have no idea if there's actually like an application where like students can apply to it and stuff, but I was personally like selected to participate in this honors program. So I thought it was a good thing for my education. So I applied for the placement test, and I was supposed to have the placement test in like December. But then on the same exact day of that placement test, it was my grandparents' 100th day death anniversary. And I don't know if any of you celebrate that kind of thing in your religions or cultures or traditions and stuff, but that's in my family's religion, culture, something like that. I don't practice my family's religion. I don't practice any religion in particular, but that doesn't mean I don't have respect for it. So I knew that day was really important for my mom, and it was also important for me because like this is supposed to be celebrating and recognizing the life of two people who are my family members. So that's why it meant a lot to me. So we had that celebration on that day, and we also had my high school placement test on that day, and those are two very important things to me. But then the person who has sexually assaulted me ever since first grade came back, and he sexually assaulted me either 2 or 3 times or something like that. One of those times was because my mom invited him into our home. And like I said, he's a close family friend, and I still haven't told anyone about this. So my mom invited him into our home, and he said that he had something to give me to help recognize my grandparents. So he literally used the death of my grandparents to manipulate my mom into getting close to me. If that's not messed up, I don't know what is. So then he got to me, and then the second time he got to me, he somehow got into my house. I have no idea how he got in. It was like right after my mom left too, so it's just like, yeah. And my mom was gone for like a few minutes too, and I heard her lock the door, and then the door opened again like minutes later, probably like 5 or something, and I heard my mom's car leave. So to me that's kind of suspicious. He came to me. I literally froze, and I was in the middle of like literally like texting my friend. I had my flight or flight, fight, or freeze instincts act up, and I was frozen. I was in the middle of texting my best friend, and my best friend at that time, and I was literally shaking, and I couldn't speak at all. I couldn't feel anything, and he was basically forcing himself on top of me, and he was trying to do stuff to me, but I kept on saying no, stop, and then he kept on trying to manipulate me, being like, oh, but you wanted this before in the past. And I was like, in my head, even though I wasn't saying it, in my head I was like, no, I didn't want it in the past. You were the one who got to me first, and I was young and naive, and I didn't understand what was going on. So how was I supposed to stand up for myself and I didn't know what was going on? So yeah, and I basically texted my best friend frantically, and I was like, hey, this dude is trying trying to get to me, call the cops for me. So the police come, and I was basically, I didn't want to talk to the police. I just wanted the police to be there to get him away from me, so then I can lock myself in my room and basically wallow in my own self-pity. But you know, when the legal forces get involved, suddenly it turns into a huge thing. So it became a huge thing, and it was taken to court, and I was basically suffering the entire time. I had to be pulled out of school a lot because I had to go to the courthouse to give my testimonies and stuff. I had a restraining order put in place. The person was being tracked as well. But it was just like, so many things were going on. I had so many people like trying to get a hold of me, and it was really overwhelming. And just talking about it now is kind of overwhelming, and I'm kind of sick and tired of it. And there was this like one time where someone actually like showed up at my house to ask to talk to me specifically. I don't know who it was, whether it was someone working on the people on the other side of the case, or I'm pretty sure my stepdad said that it was people from the local newspaper, and I was just like, why do the people from the local newspaper want to talk to me about this sort of situation? Like, I don't want to talk about it. I didn't want to do anything that had to be involved with that at that time, because also that night was supposed to be my freshman welcome night at the high school that I'm attending, because technically I'm not graduated yet, so it technically it's still present, right? I don't know. So yeah, those people showed up at my house, and literally I didn't want to leave my house. I literally did not want to go to this event that was taking place at my high school, because I was reminded of something that I wanted to forget about. So yeah, that case was dropped because the person is dead, and they can't charge anything against a dead person. And as much as I understand that, it makes me feel upset and unsure of everything, because I never got justice for it, and I never will. And I kind of accepted that because there's nothing else I can do. It's been 4 years or something like that since I last heard from these people, last got in contact to these people. So literally there's nothing that I can do about it now. And if we're talking about mentally how I came out, like, I still suffer from depression and anxiety, and I also developed PTSD. PTSD is really common amongst people who first come back from war, because they can still hear like gunshots and bombs and stuff, and like, yeah, and whenever they sort of hear a loud noise or experience something that is similar to their traumatic experience, they react differently. For my PTSD, it was more so, it was more so that I always continuously thought that it was my fault that this was happening to me and that I deserved to have this happen to me. I deserved to have that happen to me because if it wasn't happening to me, it would have been happening to someone else. And if it was happening to someone else, then I would feel absolutely disgusted with myself because like I don't want other people to feel or experience that kind of thing that I was going through. So I felt like I deserved to experience that because if I didn't, someone else would be, and I didn't want to put them through that sort of experience, so I wanted to take the pain away for them. Take away the pain and experience away from them. And then I also constantly had a lot of out of body experiences where I would be asleep in bed, but I would be asleep in bed, but I would literally feel everything that was going on to me, and yeah. I, even though it's 4 or 5 years later from that sort of experience, it's been 4 or 5 years since I've left elementary or middle school. These things still pop up in my head and they still make me feel bad, because I never got justice for the specific sexual assault that happened to me. I've had a lot of people cut me off from elementary and middle school just because they weren't satisfied with me in the friendships that I had. It was probably because I was busy with whatever was going on in high school, because I was involved with the drama club. So it was very demanding of me and I was continuously very tired, and I'm not used to hanging out. I'm not used to hanging out with people because I spent 3 or 4 years of my life basically like cooped up in my house, and I don't leave the house unless it's absolutely necessary. And it's just hard for me to be emotional and vulnerable. I don't think I'm emotional or vulnerable a lot. I can be, but whenever it happens to me in public, it's just like a huge embarrassment because I don't want to be that, if that makes sense. But basically, it's hard for me to be emotional. I have lost a lot of friendships because it's hard for me to be emotional. It's hard for me to I can be emotionally available for people and listen to their problems, but when it's me trying to talk about my issues and my problems and stuff, it's really difficult because I don't want to talk about what's going on in my life because I feel bad, and I also think that I would be a burden to people. So I just kind of wait until people come to me instead. That's how most of my friendships work at the moment, and thank God that those people who are patient with me at the moment are still sticking around. So thank you to those people who are patient and care for me the most. Yeah. I've been in 2 relationships, but those were barely relationships because they barely worked out. Because it was hard for me to accept really strong emotions and feelings in a relationship, and it was also really hard for me to be like physically affectionate with the other person on the other side. And it's not like in a sexual kind of way. It was just like holding hands or hugging them or anything like that. I could barely do that because I felt scared that I would be like suffocating them, or like they just didn't want that or something. So it's hard for me to be emotional in that kind of way. I know that in the future relationships are going to be hard, and it's going to be hard finding someone who will be patient enough to want to stick around with me, whether it's in a relationship or whether it's in a friendship. If we're talking about like mental health, I have a feeling that my depression and my anxiety thankfully have gotten better. I'm much happier now. I am slowly learning how to deal with my problems and with myself, and accepting myself for who I am. I've become more hardworking, I guess. It's hard to describe myself because I don't like describing myself and I'm really awkward right now. But yeah. But I am comfortable with the place that I'm in right now. I'm much happier. And I would like to surround myself with other people, and kind of like with this new school year coming in, I would like to hopefully be surrounded by more people who are nice and accepting and, you know, are patient with me. And yeah, thankfully I already started to make new friends that are at the college that I am going to, and also some friends who are also like nationwide and worldwide and stuff. You guys know who you are because I will reach out to you guys probably like right after I finish filming this video and stuff and upload it and stuff. But basically, it's been 4 or 5 years since all of this has happened. I am definitely in a much better and happier place, and I don't want any of you to feel upset or feel bad for me or sympathize for me or pity me or think that I'm fragile. I'm not. Like, the way that I've been acting around the people who are around me, family members, friends, people I come across every single day, like, that's just the way that I am. I am no different. If anything, like, I feel more comfortable talking about this experience now than I used to before. And if anything, I kind of wish that I had a more comfortable place where I can talk about these things more, and that I personally would like my family members to be more aware of this part of my life, because my family, they know about it, but they don't want to talk about it. Probably because it's considered a huge scandal in the family, and they don't feel comfortable talking about it because it's such a negative and terrible thing. But if anyone would like to talk about that sort of thing with me, then I am more than happy to be able to talk about it with others and kind of share my story with others so that I can help other people, if that makes sense. But I am going to wrap this video up now because we're closing in on 40 minutes long and I'm pretty sure you guys don't want to watch that. So to wrap this up, I am going to say that I am happy. I'm happy and I'm comfortable with myself. I am more accepting of all of my weird quirks and stuff. I still have these moments where I do break down and I do have the trauma sort of come back. But it's not as often as before because I got help for it, and even though I don't go to therapy anymore, I am instead surrounding myself with continuously positive people and positive influences and all that kind of stuff. So I am in a more positive and bright mindset because of my environment. So yeah, I'm happy, and even though I've had a lot of bad things happen to me in my life, it's over now. Even though I'm not going to forget about it, it's a part of me that I will remember so that I can grow from it and I can remind past Venusa that it's gonna be okay. You got this far. And even though like now I think like, wow, I am still surprised how I am still alive. Why am I still alive? I have friends and family members who want me here, who are depending on me to still be here, and I have dreams and aspirations that I want to achieve before I die. So I am not going anywhere until I achieve everything that I want to achieve. And yeah, so that's all for today's video. I hope you guys are safe and hopefully staying sane during this time. Again, please do not feel bad for me or anything. It's okay. Everything's okay. I'm happy and everything's still gonna be the same. Like, I'm still the same Venusa that like all of you have been talking to as of recently. So yeah, that's all I really have. Yeah, that's it. I love you guys to infinity and beyond, and I'll see you in my next video whenever I choose to upload that. We'll figure it out. We'll figure that out later. Okay, bye.